This is for North Coast Radio, based in Richards Bay, which is in the east coast of the South African coastline on the Indian Ocean. My initial conversation with you today is basically just about the previous G20 we've just had, and most importantly, though, skills development between Africa, what we can learn from China, and lastly, are your views on mineral beneficiation.
I've been doing a lot of training programs for the young entrepreneurship, so therefore it's good that we are able to share some ideas.
Wonderful. China has been a champion of advancing manufacturing globally. Now, how does the G20 summit's focus on youth skills align with China's own talent development programs?
China has been very active on almost all type of global institutions, most important platforms like APAC, G20, whatever you mention it, in the BRICS forum, etc. So Chinese approach is there to advance the manufacture. We rest in the belief that technology go hand in hand with the workforce development. So the high slogan is high quality development. This is very much in conformity with Emil Kant's philosophy that people are the ends. But of course, China also take people as a mean because if we really move on the new stage of technology like artificial intelligence, big data, automation, the robotization, etc., people need to be equipped with such sort of skills on the front line. But on the other hand, our educational system needs to catch up with the fundamental research and also teach those designers and also engineers. And then China has rolled out a whole series of major national programs. It's a continuation of Made in China initiative by bringing about the apprenticeship because that's the Chinese tradition where the young learners, be it student, be it the practitioners, they normally would go through a process to get together with a mentor through a number of protocols, and also the government encourages the type of tripartite contracts where employer, mentor, and also the parents will also join to support such sort of program, and so that all stakeholders are able to see what will the trainer be able to turn out, and what type of benefits in terms of salary, in terms of work environment, in terms of the career advancement, so that they will be able to be satisfied with the agenda set forth for such sort of a training program. Well, China is also facing the challenge of educational reform because by the Confucius tradition, most people they wanted to do master degree, PhD degree, etc. But we do need a lot more vocational training, people with the right type of skill sets to be able to cope with the new generation of the technicians, digital operators, and manufacturer engineers, instead of bring most of the young people onto the research track. So these programs, they are able to combine theoretical conditions together with the employer partnership so that we are able to move ahead with advanced traction. And besides that, we also focus on the type of climate transformation, because people need to be made aware that they are engaged in green operation, and they learn this clear skill as how we can really China meets its global commitment for the carbon neutrality and carbon peaking program. So now you talk about the G20. I think the G20 is doing the right thing on youth skills that is able to align naturally with the domestic agenda, which is most important because the different countries have different culture, different economic, and also religious foundations. So therefore, to cater to the basic community and to cater to the stage of industrialization, urbanization, it is something that is important because there's no really solution that can fix all. So I'm also responsible to to generate some programs for the entrepreneurship training for the APEC, the Asian Pacific Economic Conference. So therefore, I think we can really synergize with all that. And as a matter of fact, before the COVID, I was working with UNDP to generate a sort of 3-year training program. Hopefully, that can really be located in the Addis Ababa in the Oriental Park of where it's an incubator and also it's a host of so many Chinese companies over there employing so many the local people, so that people are given the bilingual skills and also by operational skills.
Absolutely. Now, South Africa's mining sector specifically is a key employer for youth, young people. What specific partnerships or technologies transfers do you see China see as the most beneficial for upskilling local workers?
Yes, I think the opportunity lies in the fact that China is still the world's largest manufacturer hub, which is heavily reliant on the extractive industries on a global basis. Now that with the China-Africa friendship and also with more of the Chinese private sectors getting engaged in the extractive industry in South Africa, the key is that we need to treat people with respect, and so that people will be able to have the confidence and commitment to work on a long-term basis with the employers. And now, if you look at the Chinese own extractive industry, they are highly modernized and highly automated. It's not really to have a whole bunch of young people digging coal mines or the other type of copper mines, etc. So the other dimension is that to introduce the modern innovation-driven technology that can really generate high-quality job. That's something most important. But in the meanwhile, the local young people need, first of all, they need certain level of literacy, and hopefully they are able to have some basic communication skills with people from different culture, particularly from China. And then the most important one is that the Chinese, the Chinese companies also need to take active action to engage with the local training schools, local polytech, the training center, etc., so that they will also know that what would be the most proper way to disseminate knowledge and transfer the operational skill sets, and also that they can really build a sort of institutional structure where they have a partnership between mentor and apprenticeship, so that the in well along this process they do not only learn the skills, getting better paid, but also they are able to enjoy the interpersonal type of friendship. So that's something we can really work towards. Well, I think the other approach is that local communities and younger people, they need to get more self-organized to really to bring their own initiative, just to tell the Chinese investors, okay, now here guys, we need not only the skills, but for example, we need some accommodation which is close to the operating that is directly catered to the local market, and so that you are able to bring some technology, for example, to solar technology and alternative usage of the local fuels. And the other way is really digitization, so that people do not only work on a manual basis, but they are able to sit in an air-conditioned room and watch those screen, touch those button, and so that they can visibly see there is productivity. So I think this type of operation is important. The other is that there are a number of workshops that are between the Chinese investors and also the Chinese government aid program, and together to leverage some of the global financial institutions like IMF, World Bank, etc. So this can really be able to build something that is on skill and also generate a culture of learning, and also to be able to protect their work rights. More importantly, a job that is there to lead to long-term career ladder.
Oh, yeah, wonderful. Now, with the Chinese digital corporations being very advanced, how do you envision Chinese mentorship contributing to minerals beneficiation skills?
I think this is really a two-way traffic, as I mentioned, that we are really in a mutual learning process. So Chinese people, together with the candidates for mentorship, are also learning what is exactly needed in terms of knowledge, in terms of technology, in terms of the local expectations, etc. So that really needs some of the initiative that is generated locally, particularly by younger people with robust passion. So my training program is that normally before it really starts, I send a number of questionnaires to the candidates and say, okay, what exactly do you expect, and what could be the deliverables, and how my training program can really turn you into something with added value. On the other hand, for the Chinese investors, they also need to bring about something that is visible, and also something that's close to the local needs and the local skills. So, for example, they can really build more of the expo centers to see, okay, these are the equipments that you guys can really operate on it. And now, let's build a sort of one on several program. For example, one mentor handles not only on-site, but also even if they come back to China, they can still serve as a mentor to get engaged online to utilize all the digital skills, and like what we have been doing to have WeChat, the dialogue, etc. I've been doing it with my middle school, which is also in the countryside, although within China. So I constantly send my articles, my TV programs to those English teachers. I think similar model can be introduced over there. Secondly, I think Chinese mentors can also guide on the micro projects. It does not have to be Chinese projects. Let's make it clear. So based on this type of friendship, even if they work for local companies, even if they work for French companies or English companies, so they can still take advantage of such a friendship carried with knowledge, with skills, with practical experiences. So it turned out they can be a sort of family type of structure. In order to incentivize the local people, they can really work together with sort of a certification program, so that the people can really have different letters. So this is really the entry level certificate. This is the mid-level or intermediate level certificates, the high-value certificates, and then, both sides can also work with either the local or central government, so that those certificates can be recognized for employment and for salary rise, for position promotion. So this gives a permanent and strong incentive not only to the individual, but also to give the pride of their family, of their local community. See, okay, my young man is really working with a Chinese mentorship, and he's growing, and we are happy.
Absolutely. China's Belt and Road Initiative, often includes the skills exchange components. Which programs are you most excited to see implemented, and that could be implemented here in Africa as well, and why?
Well, actually, the rating program is the Luban Workshop. You may have heard about it. This is about simply to give special training programs. China actually provides all the aid to such a program. So we have the program in Ethiopia, in South Africa, in Egypt, Kenya, Nigeria, Djibouti, Mali, Uganda, and Tanzania, and there's more because Chinese President Xi Jinping really made a commitment to support the small and beautiful projects. It's not only there to give the money to the local or central government, or you set up a wonderful building of government, but also to give practical skills. So that's exactly China is doing. Actually, I really describe also the Chinese type of working loop with Africa. We can give them a fish, but also more importantly, we teach them fishing skills, and that's not enough. We also need to give them skills and equipment as how to process their fish, so that they can really have more added value. And then China opens its market for almost tariff-free for them to export to China. They earn foreign exchange, so that kids can really get the tuition, and workers get better salary to make their family happy, and also the government can really tax to be able, with the money to provide the social amenity and buy more of the modern equipment to go for modernization or industrialization of their local community. So this will be really a very positive feedback loop. And so with the Luban workshop is something that's important because within the Luban workshop, they assign a specific Chinese partner, for example, Chinese railway university or institutes. So simply to teach, how to run the railway, how to manage rail tracks, how to direct traffic, etc. And then the Chinese Ministry of Agriculture or the University of the Chinese Agriculture can really, introducing farm tools, introducing the seeding program, the how to deal with pesticides, and what is the scientific way of delivering the fertilizer, etc., etc. So I think this is really the most practical and highly valued program that's over there. Again, because China is facing so many African countries and Latin American countries along the Belt and Road. So, the local guys need to take initiative. It's always said that, crying babies have the best milk. So you've got to really approach, okay, go to the Chinese embassy, go to the Chinese Chamber of Commerce, go to the Chinese Council for Promotion of International Trade. Say, hey, we are friends. I like China. Okay, let's arrange something like that. Put up a proposal.
Yeah, that's very true. I'm so happy to hear you say that, because with most of our rural areas, you find that many young South Africans lack exposure to advanced manufacturing. Like, what outreach or apprenticeship models from China could we adapt here locally?
Actually, our chief mastermind for the Chinese reform, Deng Xiaoping, said very clearly that I don't care whether it's a black cat or a white cat, as long as it catches light, it's a good cat. So, how to be a good cat? Get a good job with career advancement. And how to do that? You need to have the skills. The not only technical skills, you need to be able to have the communication skills. If you really wanted to move onto the management, you need to have organizational skills. And okay, draw a vertical line on a piece of paper, check, okay, where I am now, what do I really want to achieve? And then what is the gap? By identifying the gap of skills of all capacities, and then, okay, what would be the solution? How do I do it? So if I really wanted to be a high-level manager, I'm applying scholarship to study for 1 or 2 years, even 4 years within China, because China offers the billions of scholarship to train African youngsters. I've been teaching this program for the last 3 decades. I like those young African boys and girls. They are so lovely. They are equally talented, if not more, and they know that what they are doing here, and they make friends. And during their study, they engage with community. They learn how to do e-commerce, and they build partnership. And so, some of my students are also making money. Back in Africa, they buy, for example, the Chinese Air Force. They buy the Chinese USBs, sell locally. For young guys, don't just say, oh, I'm sitting under the tree. Will there be someone that can bring the fruit to my hands? No, you can't sit still. You got to take the initiative and you got to make the efforts. Well, at the turning point, it might be painful, but it can be highly rewarding.
Absolutely. That is so true. And you mentioned so much about the education part of it. The G20 also discussed micro credentials and portable qualifications. How can China and South Africa collaborate to make these credentials mutually recognized?
Yeah, I think that's very important. I've been working, representing China to work with University of Maryland, Sorbonne University, Dauphin, and many other global institutions which really have a higher learning environment and also the academic track. So same can be duplicated with Africa, for example, to build a joint degree program. My university has been doing one with some other universities, even local training centers in many parts of the world. And so many Chinese universities are ready, and also the government provides the aid program. For example, you may have heard of the Peking University. They have the South, the Cooperation Institute, where they receive a number of students, and they doing a bachelor degree, master degree, and PhD degree. So this is a very solid training program. But I would encourage next step that we need to build more of the joint training programs locally so that we can really issue a double degree to the local people, because after all, we cannot really have so many people cram into the Chinese universities here. But with the joint degree, probably we can also leverage the third party, French universities or British universities. We can really join it. So what is needed is really a sort of initiative that can be built. It can be into different sectors. For example, in terms of the climate change issues, in terms of public health. And for example, I talk with a number of students who study within the Chinese medicine university. They learn acupuncture skills. They learn some massage skills to deal with local tourism. So a short-term training program can also be very important. It's very targeted, very focused, but with a certificate earned. But then local government, local educational board also needs to offer the same level of recognition. And China also has the program. Okay, we call it the talent platform, where you can really put those people with the certificates, with the learning experience onto a platform that is visible, so that employers or headhunters can directly go to these people. And this can really have a sort of best practice result. So seeing, okay, my next door neighbor, his son or his daughter is doing great within this program. The word of mouth can really spread out, so that people will be able to have more motivation to engage in such sort of program. And such joint program can be custom made to cater to the local people. And I think the other important thing is that language training. There are also globally established the language training program. For example, you have the 8 stages of HSK, which means the Chinese language. I talked with the manager of the Oriental Industrial Park in Addis Ababa, and she said if they are able to speak, if there are people in my factory who are able to speak Chinese, because unfortunately I don't speak the local language, I can double their salary. So that's something that's really a low-hanging fruit. So so the local schools also needs also to work with the business community and also with government agencies like the ministries or bureaus that deal with international collaboration and of course educational board. They can really come up with a proposal and so that such joint degree is not only simply a copycat, but rather a new creation that is catered to the local need. And also, they can also, incentivize people. If you guys are doing good within this joint program, you can really apply for an advanced degree and with scholarship to Chinese universities or to French university, British universities, so that they can really have a long track of motivation to move forward.
Absolutely. Now, looking ahead, what emerging technologies from China do you think will have the biggest impact on youth employment in manufacturing and in mining?
Solar panels, simple as that, because I think for most African countries, the lack of power rates is something that is a bigger bottleneck. So with more of the solar panels as how to set up those solar panels, how to generate power, and how to cater at least to a local. It does not have to be distributive, but to a local needs to run a plant or to provide the lighting and um, and also the charging posts for the e-vehicles, or be it the motorcycles or cars, etc. So to operate such a sort of operation, and eventually it's not really there to simply to import from China. They can really do it with the local ingredients and from processing those in the materials, the mining materials, and then so that they are able to set up the end product that can benefit their household and they benefit the local community. So I think that's also important. The other is that they need all the skills to add value. I mean, simply just dig out those raw materials and then get it shipped to overseas, either to China or to India. That doesn't really pay a lot. So therefore, how to add value, how to process it. For example, you deal with the coal. How can you really be able to improve value by washing the coal locally, or even to extract the oil out of the coal, and to make a good quality coal that you can really double or triple the value of it. They can really, instead of simply lying flat, okay, I got a copper mine, I got a coal mine, and you guys come here and then leave some of the tax and hire some of the local people. That's over. So that's too simple. Ask the investors how do you really invest locally, and also to increase the value of my stuff. You bring the coal to generate power somewhere, but can you use the coal to generate power locally? And these are the conditions. Of course, for investors, they would like to see a fair return of their investment. But you need really to bring a proposal to convince them that if you use at least a portion of the coal to generate power locally, you can really get better paid off, and then we will have better access to the practical utility of those coal. The other issue is that they need some skills as how to repair those machines, how to replace parts, how to put the things together. So instead of having all the finished equipments dealing with extractive industry to be imported locally. So why don't you just work with the investors? Now as long as you guys can import those parts because that's cheaper, I can put them into pieces. Yeah, put those pieces into a whole set of machines that can be operating very well. So that pay me some money by putting all these pieces together. So there are really very practical issues that they need to deal with. So and also they need to have, again, I emphasize initiative to engage. Don't just say that's your job, and I just need a workplace.
China has made very big strides in artificial intelligence and the digital upskilling. How might these skills integrated into South Africa's beneficiation process to empower young people?
For many Chinese people, and even for the world, Africa is still a myth. People always, Africa, you big five. We do need big five, but we need, we need money, simple. My advice is that people need to get prepared with two sets of skills. One is that they learn to walk before they can jump. So don't just say, with all the artificial intelligence, that I don't need to work with machines. I'm just waiting for a driverless car. So now you have a car that needs a driver. Can you be a driver? So now you need they have equipment with half automation. Okay, I know how to operate all that. So I don't just wait. Okay, I just watch the screen and push the button. So that's one thing. And the other is that, get ready for the new emerging technologies. Do not expect that you are going to have the top cutting-edge technology. No American companies, no Chinese companies would like to give it for you to you for free, because they spend billions of money to develop those technologies. But be practical. For example, Chinese drones. They sell a lot of drones very cheap and very functional. So how do I use drones to monitor my cornfields? And then, how do I put big data to really to have years of observation over the crop, so that I build a record? Then I will learn how to scientifically arrange the plantation. For example, in some areas, I could see they could really plant 2 seasons or even 3 seasons. In Africa, many they just plant 1 season, and that's quite a waste of the agricultural resources. Yeah, the other is learning, because right now you have Chinese DeepSeek, you have the ChatGPT, and many other even sectorial catered programs. So get the right knowledge. For universities and for training schools, they can pull up those the updated knowledge, and so that they are able to put it into practical use. The other is that how people can be trained to make their own drones locally, to assemble cars that are totally electric, and then also that how government can really work together with the private companies and also even with global finance. For example, the United States just produced a very ambitious program on the Genesis mission. They are able to bring a whole lot of government agencies together, even the Department of Defense together, to work with Elon Musk, with Zuckerberg, so that they are able to share, to build a type of agenda. So a piecemeal, like oh, I got a robot, that can clean the floor at home. So that's not enough. So you need really to build a whole landscape and even ecosystem to do that. And plus, one must be aware. Right now, the big data, artificial intelligence, they consume a lot of energy.
Yes.
Computation. So therefore, if you really want to build a local data center, you need to go back to do the groundwork. I I need to have uninterruptible the power supply. And then, okay, if you really, for some areas, even if I've been running in my course with South Africa University and also the British University, the Swiss University. It's a four universities running course. Sometimes South African partner, so sorry, we are not. Well, we have a blackout, and we're not able to log online, and so that's something that's very disappointing. But of course, we are not really blaming those young people. So therefore, you need really have integrated system. First of all, have ready power supply. You need to have the all weather and 24-hour access to Wi-Fi. You can really work with China to deal with more satellites that's synchronized towards the local needs, doing weather forecast, or simply to deliver education program, etc. It's a matter of how to utilize it, and even on the road. For example, in China, for example, in my community, we have a whole set of cabinets so that people can really change their battery with their motorbikes. So they just deposit minimum amount of money and they just change their battery. They do not even need to charge. So the local supporting facilities will also be required to make that, to make the whole thing.
Oh, yes. Oh, wow. Now, my last question to you is, what message would you like to give to the young people of South Africa who are eager, to build careers in manufacturing and minerals beneficiation?
One, confidence. You are no inferior to any part of the world of your peers. So what you need is really to take your own initiative and turn with something that's highly practical and also make yourself reliable, and then learn the communication skills to engage entrepreneurship. You need a number of teammates to start with, and also learn the language, learn English, learn Chinese, so that they can see a larger world with more of the opportunities embedded over there. In China, we have the average 10 people. We have one company. I've been tutoring a young kid of like 12 years old. He set a small company, of course, under the name of the adult, but he's really dealing with, to sell the stationaries, to sell paper, to sell markers online. They're making money out of it. So therefore, people need to have their drive for entrepreneurship.
Mm, it's so true.
And then we really work for foreign companies, local companies. Get ready with skills, get ready with your sales network, so that you can really come up with something of your own business. So China is the host of more than 1 million foreign companies. So many people, they work over there for 3 or 4 years, and then with all the skills, with all the distribution network, with all the supply, they come up and set up their own business. We always say that opportunities can only be friendly to those who get ready. In China, we have a saying that instead of the admiring those people who are really catching all those fish, go home, weave your fishing net, and, and make your own boat before you can really get those fish as other people do.
True. It's been such a wonderful pleasure speaking to you, Professor Leo. And I know for a fact that just from this short conversation that we've had, it's going to open up a lot more requests from my community to come to you for a lot of good advice within industries and skills development. And we just want to say thank you so much. And you'll definitely be hearing from us in the near future.
I like Africa. I like African uh, the youngsters. So they have the drive. They need to the opportunities. Our global platform, because I'm also dealing with the G20, etc. I'm also pushing the global now that you need to deliver your commitment. So every year, where is the $100 billion that you have been committed to deal with the climate change issues in Africa, and the to deal with the climate change, the you can give people a lot of job opportunities, also for to build a sort of ecosystem for entrepreneurship to support such sort of program. I understand many African villages, they need flashlights when they walk outside in the night. So as simple as that. Can they really make, see, the solar light bulbs, so that the kids, when they come to school, when they come off school, they can really sit under a part of lamp to study.
There's a lot of work that can be done, and we can copy a lot from what China did with their rural revitalization strategy. It's one of my most interesting areas of study that I tend to always refer back to, how China was able to revitalize their rural areas into manufacturing hubs. I think there's lots to learn there.
Yeah, I've been writing a lot of all this. I also recently I just also published 2 articles on how Americans manage their rural modernization program. How China can really continue to learn. For a country, for a company, for individual, always look up to those people who have advantages, so that you can learn, you can cooperate with them. Don't just say, okay, well, that's their job. You can also do it. And I like the actually, finally, I would like to share with the young people. Definitely, they know Space Jam, Michael Jordan versus the Bugs Bunnies. Well, listen to that song again and see what type of inspiration they can get. In which I always remember, they said, if you can see it, you can do it. So open your eyes for opportunities. You will be there.